move on to your work in kitchen theory. Just as you said, you're so lucky to work with food. And I actually also had a great conversation with your friend and colleague, Steve Keller, in my previous podcast. Now I want to know about the fascinating work you do with Jozef Youssef, the founder of kitchen theory, involving Steve. And why did you choose to study fine dining?
So I got into the world of food and psychology and gastrophysics through the food companies, Unilever initially, and then everyone else at some point thereafter. But what I came to realize after one too many kind of corporate workshops where the chefs and those food companies would try and take the science that we were discovering and incorporate it into a new food product. And nearly always it was a horrible experience. I remember one case where we had trying to make a superadditive kind of chocolate thing, and the kitchens came back with this thing like a jelly infused with flavorful stuff, and you bit into it and then it squirted all over the place, and you could see that they had incorporated the science but not in a good way. So the innovation happened much quicker, whereas I was spending years working with cars and warning signals there, it might be 20 years. Even if you've got the best idea in the world, it'll still take probably 10, 20 years between that idea being crystallized and it being incorporated into the models of cars that are being produced. So it's so slow. And whereas as soon as you work with the chef, suddenly it speeds up so much faster. With Jozef, it's been great because it's probably known him now for, I guess, almost a decade. And he came to some talk we were giving in London, took a break from his shift at the Connaught Hotel where he was cooking at the time. And he, like Blumtau, were very interested in non-traditional insights or sources of knowledge or inspiration that probably the inspiration for the next new thing, the next new dish, the next new approach doesn't come from a chef conference. That may come from listening to how people create wallpaper or how surgeons operate. And these are all examples, that Jozef's been working with the great Roger Kneebone, a surgeon, and published on the parallels between operating in a kitchen and in a surgery. And we've had lots of fun over the years then collaborating through often I'll find something in psychology or in the gastrophysics, an illusion or something, show it to the chef and say, could we do something in this space? At other times, the chef does stuff and we'll just sort of report back. It's strange, when we serve this way, people say that, and when we serve the same food but call it something different, then it feels like diners respond differently. And that then becomes a source of a next experiment for us to say how important is naming description to the dish. And so a lot of the dishes on the menu, on the various menus that we've been collaborating on since probably 2013 now, have either fed into or been experiments. And Jozef is one of the chefs who then sort of uses technology, who has projection mapping over the table for some of the courses, who uses headphones sometimes or ambient sound to create moods or to create atmospheres, to recreate the forest when serving a mushroom dish that's plated in the way the mushroom was found in the forest, for example. And in that multi-sensory sort of digital technology enhanced dining experience, the question of which sounds to present is one that the chef can't really address. What has gone beyond his favorite playlist is Eamon Tobin. He used to play for some of the menus, and I certainly can't do. And that's where sort of Steve comes in, and met him first at actually an audio branding conference, but then he came to one of Jozef's meals, and we had some fun, and that led into then a series of collaborations, some between just them two, and sometimes between all three of us, and sometimes between me and Jozef, that can involve a sonic element. And my favorite currently has to be the jellyfish dish, which has been on the menu for the Gastrophysics Chef's Table, pre-code, of course. And the first course on the menu involving jellyfish, which is not a common food that most Western diners don't like the idea of, but which is sustainable. The sea's getting full of jellyfish because of global warming. So a good idea would be to eat them. And the chef is trying to, convince diners, not going with the easy option of things they know they like, but with unconventional options that might be more sustainable, like jellyfish. How to present that to diners? Well, the chef makes a nice recipe, has a cucumber gazpacho, serves it on tweezers. So questioning what cutlery can be, a projection mapping of the sea where the jellyfish might have been floating. And then in terms of the soundscape, Steve came up with this great kind of combination of the sound of the sloshing waves as an atmospheric sound to match the sea projected on the table. But intermittent amongst those sea sounds are the sounds of crunch, like somebody biting on potato chips, sort of referencing my first food experiment that got much notice, the sort of sonic chip. And jellyfish, when you cook them, prepare them, they have no taste. It's just a crunchy texture, pure crunch, pure sound in food. So diners are there at the table eating this jellyfish. And what came out of this collaboration is, I think both from Steve and the sort of intelligent and pleasant to listen to layering of sounds, not having just soundscape doing one thing, but multiple things. And then through observation, when diners eat the dish, they've got the headphones on. Sometimes they crunch, but the headphones are just playing the sea sounds. Sometimes the headphones crunch, but they're not crunching. And then sometimes crunch, and the headphones crunch at the same time. And your brain all the time as a diner is trying to resolve this. Am I hearing myself crunch or not? It's kind of integrating, segregating, integrating, segregating in a way that artists like Bruce Nauman have done with lip sync video from the 1960s, that he plays with the synchrony, and it creates this kind of more compelling thing as your brain tries to resolve things, that's something that makes sense and then sort of doesn't. And that was not predicted, but kind of came out of the dish, out of the collaboration that we then is written up and published on. And a very nice example of the kind of combination of different skills, the kind of creative of the kitchen, making the food. I've never tried Steve's cooking, but I don't imagine it's quite as good as Jozef's. And Steve's kind of auditory, together with the kind of the scientific glue, if you will, of why these sounds might work.